Every human being walks through life wearing a mask. Sometimes it's the face of kindness, other times ambition. Some wear pain as strength, others hide fear behind laughter. But have you ever truly stopped to ask yourself, which one am I? We live many lives in one. We are a child in front of our parents, a stranger on the street, a hero to someone who looks up to us, and maybe a villain in someone else's story. These roles swirl within us like winds in a storm, and yet we walk through each day thinking we are just one thing. The truth, you are not just one. You are a complex orchestra of thoughts, instincts, wounds, dreams, and shadows. Some of you are guided by the light, the version of yourself that conforms, achieves, pleases. Others are driven by the silent forces underneath, the side you don't show, the one you sometimes fear, the one that whispers at night when all is quieting. There's more to you than this. When you suppress your emotions, avoid conflict, or copy others to fit in, you trade your truth for comfort. You become a mirror, reflecting what others expect, never showing what you truly are. But the brave few, they walk into the depths of their being. They look their shadows in the eye. They embrace their contradictions. And in doing so, they are reborn. So I ask again, which one are you? The person others told you to be, or the one you've yet to discover? Do not fear your depths. You were never meant to stay on the surface. Go into yourself, unconfront, awaken. Because the greatest tragedy is not to fail, it's to never meet the real you. You are not one identity, but many roles shaped by inner and outer forces. From the moment you're born, your identity begins to form, not as a single solid shape, but as a shifting, evolving mosaic. As a child, you adapt to the expectations of your parents, learning what earns you love and what invites silence. At school, you become a student, obedient, competitive, curious, or withdrawn, responding to the social rules written by others. Among friends, you shape a different face, perhaps lighter, freer, more expressive, or more guarded, depending on the group. And in solitude, when no one is watching, another version of you appears, one you rarely speak of. These identities are not false. They are each real, but they are not the whole of you. You are not fixed in one form. You are the result of the silent conversations between your inner world and the world around you. Your instincts push in one direction, society pulls in another. Your emotions rise with one truth, while logic demands another path. You are always becoming, responding, resisting, adapting. The self is not a static object, it is a flowing process. In one moment, you may be generous, compassionate, forgiving. In another, selfish, defensive, proud. You are capable of deep wisdom and deep foolishness, of love and indifference, strength and fragility. And that does not make you broken. It makes you human. What defines you is not whether you choose one role and stay there. What defines you is your willingness to recognize the many selves within you and understand what they are trying to say. Every role you play is a reflection of something deeper, a need, a memory, a fear, a longing. Some parts of you've nurtured, others you've silenced, but they all live within you. To know yourself is not to choose one identity and wear it proudly. It is to accept that you are a constellation of inner voices, all shaped by where you've been, who you've loved, what you've lost, and what you hope to become. Wholeness is not found in perfection. It is found in integration. You do not have to be one thing you were never meant to be. There are parts of you that you've hidden, rejected, or buried so deeply that you forget they ever existed. These parts don't disappear. They simply retreat into the unconscious, waiting, watching, shaping your thoughts and behaviors from behind the curtain. This is the shadow. The unseen side of your personality, made up of everything you were told not to be, everything you were punished for, and everything you decided was unsafe to express. Anger, jealousy, selfishness, insecurity, desire, fear, even power. These are often the building blocks of the shadow. Cast away because they made others uncomfortable, or because they made you uncomfortable. But the shadow is not evil. It is not your enemy. It is your truth misunderstood. When you deny it, you do not become pure. You become fragmented. You begin to act out your disowned parts unconsciously. Through passive aggression, judgment, addiction, or sabotage, you project what you dislike in yourself onto others. You hate in them what you cannot admit lives in you. And so, the cycle continues, pretending, hiding, avoiding. To turn toward your shadow is not an act of weakness, but of extraordinary courage. It is the decision to stop running. It is the moment you say, I want to see all of me, not just the parts that are easy to love. When you face your shadow, you begin to reclaim power. You begin to see where your pain comes from, why certain patterns repeat, and what your reactions are truly trying to protect. You begin to understand that your darkest impulses often carry the keys to your deepest healing. The shadow is not there to destroy you. It is there to complete you. It holds your creative fire, your intuition, your emotional depth, your inner warrior, your hidden wisdom. It is where your gold is buried, beneath layers of shame and silence. By facing it, you don't become someone else. You become more of who you are. Or you stop fearing yourself. You become whole, not perfect, but real. And in that wholeness, there is freedom. To be truly yourself in a world that is constantly trying to shape you is one of the bravest acts you can commit. From childhood, you're taught what is acceptable, what earns approval, what keeps you safe. You learn to smile when you're uncomfortable, to nod when you disagree, to stay silent when your truth trembles inside you. Over time, this becomes second nature. An identity formed not from the core of who you are, but from the fear of what might happen if you truly showed it. Being authentic is not about always being loud, rebellious, or brutally honest. It's about alignment, acting in accordance with what you truly feel, value, and believe, even when the cost is high. And the cost often is high. Speaking your truth may push people away. Choosing your path may confuse those who once supported you. Refusing to fit in may leave you standing alone. But the alternative is far more painful, living a life that feels false. Wearing a mask so often that you forget what your real face looks like. People want to be accepted. It's human. But when acceptance comes at the cost of your integrity, the emptiness grows louder than the applause. Authenticity is not always rewarded. Sometimes it threatens others. It reminds them of the parts of themselves they've silenced. It exposes the illusions they've chosen to live within. And so, you may be misunderstood. You may be called difficult, arrogant, strange, or even wrong. But you must remember, being understood is not the same as being true to yourself. The path of authenticity is not paved with comfort. It is filled with resistance, doubt, and moments of painful honesty. But it also holds moments of deep peace. When you look in the mirror and know you are no longer pretending. When your choices reflect your values. When your words echo your beliefs. When your presence is no longer a performance. To be authentic is to risk being alone, but it is also the only way to ever truly belong. Not just to others, but to yourself. That kind of belonging can't be given or taken. It is earned moment by moment by showing up as you are, especially when it's hardest. There's a quiet tension that builds inside when you deny your true nature. It doesn't make noise at first. It whispers. A small discomfort when you say yes but mean no. A hollow feeling when you laugh at a joke that cuts too deep. A heaviness in your chest when you pretend everything is fine when it's not. These moments seem harmless, forgettable, even necessary, but over time they accumulate. And what you're really doing is turning away from yourself. Every time you suppress a part of who you are, your emotions, your thoughts, your desires, you send a message to your own minding. This part of me is unacceptable. This part is dangerous. This part must be hidden. But nothing inside you simply disappears because you silence it. What is buried alive does not die, it waits. And it grows stronger in the dark. This inner division creates friction, a battle between what is true and what is allowed. You begin to live a life split between the external and the internal. Outwardly, you may seem composed, agreeable, even successful, but inwardly there's confusion, anxiety, sadness, or rage. You begin to feel like a stranger to yourself. Depression, restlessness, chronic fatigue. These are not always flaws or failures. Sometimes they are signs of a soul that has been silenced for too long. The self is not meant to be fractured. You are not designed to be two people, one for the world and one for the mirror. You were made to be whole, and wholeness begins with honesty. When you suppress your feelings, your dreams, your fears, you lose your connection to what matters. You start living a life of performance, and the longer you perform, the harder it becomes to remember who you are beneath the act. Healing begins the moment you choose truth over comfort. When you stop editing yourself to meet others' expectations and begin expressing your needs, your values, and your reality. This is not about indulgence or selfishness. It's about alignment. When your inner life matches your outer choices, peace returns, clarity returns. You no longer feel at war with yourself. You begin to trust your own voice again. Suppressing yourself may feel safe, but it's a slow death. Expression, even when it's difficult, is the path back to life. You are not one simple, linear being. Inside you live opposites, light and dark, peace and conflict, confidence and insecurity, love and resentment. These contradictions aren't mistakes. They are evidence of your complexity, proof that you are human. Yet from an early age, you're taught to choose. Good over bad, strong over weak, rational over emotional. You're told to resolve the tension, to decide who you are and discard the rest. But real growth doesn't come from picking a side. It comes from stepping into the space between them and learning to understand it. When you deny your contradictions, you shrink. You try to be one thing, only kind, only calm, only strong, and you cut off everything else. But those rejected parts don't vanish. They wait, and they speak in symptoms, mood swings, unexplained guilt. relationships that break down, goals that feel empty. You become trapped not by your flaws, but by your refusal to see the truth of what you contain. The growth begins the moment you turn inward and look clearly at the parts of yourself that don't fit together easily. It's when you admit, I want to be generous, but I also resent being taken for granted. It's when you say, I strive to be confident, but some days I feel lost. This honesty is not weakness, it is liberation. It's the point where healing starts, not by fixing yourself, but by accepting that you were never meant to be perfectly aligned. You begin to grow when you realize that your contradictions are not enemies, but guides. They show you where your deepest needs lie. They reveal the patterns you inherited, the wounds you carry, and the values you're still shaping. Through them, you come to know yourself, not as an ideal, but as a living, breathing, evolving person. Embracing your contradictions doesn't make you unstable, it makes you whole. It means living with tension without being torn apart. It means understanding that you can hold two truths at once, that you can love and still need space, that you can lead and still have doubts, that you can forgive and still feel hurt. This is where transformation begins. Not in perfection, but in the courage to live as you are. There is no path more daunting, more mysterious, or more transformative than the one that leads inward. Outwardly, the world is full of distractions, roles to play, goals to chase, people to impress. You are often taught to conquer the world before you are ever encouraged to understand yourself. But no achievement, no recognition, no status will ever satisfy the part of you that remains unknown. The inner world, rich with memories, dreams, wounds, and forgotten truths, waits patiently for you to come home to it. This journey requires more than intellect. It asks for honesty, humility, and above all, courage. Because when you turn inward, you don't just find your strengths, you face your fears, your contradictions, your failures, your unmet needs. You confront the stories you've told yourself to survive, and the masks you've worn to feel loved. It is a confrontation not with enemies, but with yourself, your full, unedited self. And that is what makes it heroic. You do not get to run, you do not get to lie. You stand in front of your inner world and ask, who am I really? There are no shortcuts. You will stumble upon pain you thought you buried. You will meet voices inside you that echo from your past, some kind, some cruel. But if you stay with it, if you don't turn away, something remarkable happens. You begin to make peace with yourself. The shame softens. The fear becomes familiar. The pain becomes meaningful. And in the middle of all of it, you find something you didn't expect: clarity. A deeper understanding of who you are, not based on what others see, but what you know within. Wholeness does not mean perfection. It means you stop fighting with yourself. But you stop trying to be someone else. You begin to live in alignment with your values, your truth, and your inner voice. You begin to trust yourself, even when the world doubts you. That is why the inner journey is the most heroic. Because while others may cheer you for what you do, only you will ever truly know what it took to become who you are.